everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Frida and thank you guys so much for checking me out today. So August is almost over, which means wedding season is right around the corner, and I have a ton of weddings that I have to do, a bunch of brides that I have to get ready. So I wanted to actually sit down and show you guys what like my most requested bridal look is, and it's just a very like soft glam neutral makeup look, and that is what I have for you guys today. So if you are a bride and you don't know how to do your own makeup and you're just you really can't afford it, I know how expensive weddings can be, so I wanted to just kind of sit down and teach you guys, kind of go in more into depth, what some good primers are, what some good products are, and what some good tips are to kind of make your makeup last all throughout the night. So yeah, I just wanted to sit down and film this video for all of you, or any of you guys that are makeup artists and want some inspiration, some really good product recommendations. Yeah, this is pretty much the makeup look that I do on all of my brides. So if you guys are interested on how I got this look, then let's just go ahead and get started. Whatever you guys do, just ignore these big clips on the side of my head. I just don't really like working with my hair in my face. I don't know anybody who does, but I make sure to clip that out of my way or pull it back. So now I'm going to start by priming my skin, and the primer I really like to use, I use this on all my bridal clients. I use it on myself every day. This is the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. It's just a really good base to get your skin really moisturized and just even. So I like to use this one. I'm just gonna take a little bit of it and just kind of work it into the skin. So I finished blending in my primer, and the reason I also really like that primer is just because I feel like it makes makeup last a whole lot longer, especially for the brides who are doing makeup early in the morning for pictures and then they're not actually doing the ceremony until like 6 o'clock at night. It's a really good way to keep their makeup last all throughout the day and all throughout the night as well. I'm going in with a second primer, and the reason that I go in with a second one is more to target like my pores and just smoothing everything out. So I like to use the Benefit Professional. This one is the Pearl Primer just because it's more luminous than the other one that they have. And then I also like the Dermalogica Hydro Blur Primer. This one's really good also, so I'm just going to use the Dermalogica ones. It's very, very underrated here on YouTube. I know my friend Nicole Cutler really likes it, but I haven't really heard that many people talking about it. And I personally really, really love it. You can see your pores literally blurred out instantly. So I really like this, especially on my brides. This is definitely one of my favorite blurring primers, just to make the foundation look absolutely flawless on the skin. And speaking of foundation, the one that I'm using today is a Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I've been falling back in love with this foundation. I stopped using it for a while, and I'm not really sure why. I've just been trying out tons of other ones, and I kind of made my way back around the circle, and I really like this. So it's a medium to full coverage foundation. You can kind of build it up if you want more coverage, or you can just leave it at a medium coverage. And I like to use just a minimum amount just to make sure that it is medium coverage and it's not too heavy or anything on my bride's skin. And I'm actually mixing two different shades together. This is the vanilla shade, which as you guys can see is a little too light, but then I'm also going to go in with the color Natural Beige, and this one is very, very dark. And then with that foundation, I'm also going to mix in the e.l.f. Glow Lotion. I have been loving this product. It's like the Becca Backlight Primer, except I like it better because it's like $5 instead of $30. And it's really, really good to make the skin super dewy and super fresh looking, especially for brides. You don't want to look super, super matte or super dry. I like to give my brides as much luminosity as possible on their day. I just want them to be like glowing, you know? I'm just blending that in using my beauty blender. My biggest tip, I'd say, if you're doing bridal makeup or if you're doing your own makeup or client makeup, whatever it may be, with the foundation especially, you definitely have to get them near natural light, just because that's what everybody's going to see outside. So what your bathroom light may do is going to be completely different lighting than what a window would do for you, just because, like I said, everybody's going to see you in natural light. Your pictures are going to be in natural light. You're not going to want to have, you know, super tan skin, like not matching your neck, and then your dress is right here, and it's just like a whole big mess. So whenever I do my clients, I tend to bring them towards a window and do their, well, I basically just do their entire makeup look in front of a window, and then I'll have a ring light kind of behind me as well. That's like the biggest tip I can say. And I'm sure you guys could tell just how pale my face was compared to my body. I don't tan my body in the summer naturally. I don't even think it wants to tan, so I always match my face to my body. and that's another really important thing. You have to look at the bride's entire body, so it's best if she's wearing like her robe or some type of shorts and a t-shirt or button up, whatever it may be, and kind of look from like here up and look at her legs and everything like that, because that is what everyone's going to see, depending on like what her dress is, whether it's strapless or halter, whatever. Everybody's going to be seeing her skin color compared to her foundation. So with mine, I just make sure I drag it down my neck. Now for concealer, I usually go in with one that is like 1 shade or 2 shades lighter than the foundation, just because you don't want too much contrast going in with a pale concealer. But you definitely do still want to brighten up the face and give a little bit more dimension to your face, rather than getting a concealer that's the exact same color as the foundation, or getting one that's like 10 times lighter than the foundation. So find one that fits the bride perfectly or fits yourself perfectly, depending if you're a makeup artist or just doing your own makeup. So as you guys can see, my under eyes are now brightened. They're not super dark. That gives a little bit more dimension to the face. So now to add a little bit more dimension, we're going to use a Kat Von D Shade and Light Contouring Palette. This is the cream version. I like to cream contour just because it looks a lot more natural on the skin, I feel like. So I'm just dipping the small stipple brush. This is a MAC 130, and I'm just taking it into this contour and blending it in. I feel like a little goes a long way with any cream contouring palette or any cream contour product, so definitely be careful with that. You don't want the skin to look too muddy. You don't want your contour to look like you got punched in the face, so definitely start off little and then go a little bit darker if you'd like to. And then just a little trick that I like to do to contour my nose, I take that brush that comes in all the Anastasia palettes, just because I don't really like the brush for anything else besides this reason. And I'll take the really skinny side right here and kind of dip a little tiny bit into the contour and kind of work that on the sides of my nose, because it fits perfectly on the sides of my nose. So I use that to contour this section. Now you're going to want to set everything into place just to make sure that nothing budges, nothing smears, anything like that. So I'm going to take the Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is really good because it doesn't have any flashback with it. On your wedding day, you're obviously going to be taking a ton of pictures, and you don't want to have that big white cast underneath your eyes. So it's good to use these products just to make sure that you're not getting that big white cast and that flashback. I don't really like to bake underneath my eyes, so I just use a brush to apply that. But now I'm going in with my beauty sponge, and I'm going to kind of just carve out the sides of my nose just to help kind of. And then I'm going to take that on my cheekbones as well. While I wait for that to kind of sit in, I'm going to bronze up my face. So I like to use the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer. It's a very nice warm tone bronzer, but it's not super warm toned. It's the perfect in between, because if you go a little bit too ashy, it's going to go like a bruised cheekbone, but if you go a little too orange, it's not going to look too natural. So you're just going to work that into the cheeks. I know it's hard to take me seriously, but bear with me here. With this next step, I feel like blush is very important on a wedding day, just because I feel like it makes the girl look a little bit more girly, more feminine, just more princessy. But if you go a little too much with it, she can look like a clown in her picture. So definitely be light-handed when you're doing a bride's makeup, or if you're a bride doing your own makeup, definitely go light-handed. Like I said, natural light is the best way to see just how much you're putting on. So this one has actually quickly become, and by quickly, I mean in a week, you guys, has quickly become my favorite blush of all time, and this is the L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted Scented Blush, and this one is actually in the shade, 191 Fantastical, and it is just the perfect peachy pink blush, and I absolutely love it. Milani Luminoso used to be my favorite until they changed the formula, so I can no longer recommend that one, but this one is from the drugstore as well. So just gonna take a little bit on my cheeks. Not too much, just enough to brighten them up. Taking that brush and wiping off the setting powder. The next step is highlight, and I really like this specific one just because you can go a little bit more natural with it, or you can build it up. So it's not one of those that as soon as you put on the cheekbone, it's like bam, right there. It's one of those that you kind of have to work your way up. It's still beautiful when it's not as worked up, but it definitely is like very powerful. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlight. I just feel like this is the perfect one. So if you just go in with a little bit, you can kind of get like a more natural subtle glow, or if you want to work your way up, you can kind of build it up, but at the same time it's still not too intense or anything like that. It still looks pretty natural. All right, and then once the skin is finished, I like to go in with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus just to kind of put all the powders together and melt them in. I feel like the skin looks very powdery if you don't do this step, so I like to kind of just spray it all over, wait for it to sit for a couple of minutes, and while I wait for it to sit, I actually do my eyebrows. So I feel like that just melts everything together flawlessly. And then for brows today, I'm using the Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit. This one, I believe in the, yeah, this one's in the shade number 2. And just going to brush my brows. And then just kind of fill them in lightly. I don't really like to do super bold brows on my brides unless they ask me to specifically, but I just noticed my camera died in the middle of me doing my eyebrows, so now they're on my face. But now we're going to move on to the eyes, and I like to pick any neutral palette in my collection just because most brides aren't gonna be like, yeah, I want a bright green eyeshadow look. A lot of them just want like really nice champagne eyes, or just something really smoky, something really natural. So I'm actually going to be taking the Too Faced Natural Eyes eyeshadow palette. This one has some really good neutrals in there, and I love this palette. The pigmentation is amazing, if you guys can see it. Before I do anything, I'm going to take the shade Heaven, which is the matte cream shade inside of this palette, and I'm just going to work that all over my lid, and that's just going to ensure that everything is all even, like a nice even base for any eyeshadow that I put on. Now that I've set everything with that cashmere shade, I'm going to go in with the shade Strip Poker, which is the lightest brown, and I'm just using that as a transition shade. So I'm literally going to take it on the fluffiest brush that I own. This is a Morphe M504, and I'm just going to work it right into the crease. That deepened up the crease a little bit, so we're going to do a little bit more, and I'm going to take the shade Cashmere Bunny right here, which is the second darkest brown inside of that palette. And the brush that I'm using this time is a little bit more tapered, but it's still very fluffy, and this is from Alamar Cosmetics. It came with their Eyes collection. I want to make the eyes look a little bit more romantic and more sexy, so I'm actually going to take the color, that's funny, Sexpresso. Very weird, but I'm going to take that shade, just a tiny bit of it, and work it right there on the outer corner and down here onto the lower half right there. So I'm just going to take a little bit. It's a very pigmented color. And I don't want to go too dark with this because you don't want her to come out with like a black eye or anything. So just kind of deepen it up a little bit. This is a Morphe M433 brush, in case you guys are curious. And then I'm just going to take whatever's left over and kind of smoke out down here, more towards the outer corner, not so much all over the lower lash line. Now we're going to want to brighten everything up, so we're taking the shade Silk Teddy, which is the shimmer shade right here. And I'm going to take that on a Sigma F70 brush. It's just a lid brush. I'm going to wet that with Fix Plus and go in there just to make it as bright and as pigmented as possible. And then just work it up until we get to that outer corner. I am so freaking annoyed because my camera keeps like overheating and dying and turning off, and then I have to come back like 20 minutes later. I forget where I am, so I think I just brightened up my eyes by putting that Silk Teddy color all over them. And now I'm going to take that same Silk Teddy color and brighten up the inner corner right here. And then I'm also going to use it to highlight my brow bone. If you guys have never worn lashes before and you're kind of nervous about wearing them on your wedding day, definitely practice like a couple days beforehand and get yourself used to them, just because for pictures, lashes make all the difference. I always tell my brides, even if you're not comfortable with it, it's kind of something that you just kind of have to do, unless you're going for a very, very simple look, which clearly, I mean, I'm doing like simple today, but not like, you know, super natural or anything. So I'm going to take these Ardell Studio Effect lashes. These are the demi wispies. They just look like that. Super simple, not anything super crazy. I love these lashes. I put them on all of my brides. They all love them so much. So I'm gonna quickly put these on off camera so you guys can see, and then we're gonna move on to the lips. While I'm waiting for the eyelash glue to dry, I'm just going to coat my bottom lashes with some mascara. What I usually tend to do on my brides is just use a waterproof mascara. I don't feel like it because it's obviously not my wedding day. It's just a typical Saturday for me. So I'm just gonna use a regular mascara. Definitely don't use a regular one. Always use waterproof on anyone's wedding day, just in case. So this is just telescopic one from L'Oreal, but like I said, waterproof is always the way to go. So for today's look, I obviously want to keep it very neutral and natural. Unless a bride wants a bright red lip, that's totally their preference. I like to do more nude tones, and a lot of the brides that I do like nude tones. So I'm going to actually take this NYX retractable lip liner. This is my favorite lip liner in the whole entire world. This is in the shade Natural. My lips are lined, and I'm going to take the Dose of Colored Liquid Lipstick. This is from the iluvsaraii collection in the color Nude Chika. And I'm just going to coat my lips with that. You guys could totally leave the lips like this, or you can add a gloss. I really like the Tarte's Glossy Lip Paint in the color Hella. This is my favorite nude lip gloss, so I'm just going to take a little bit in the middle and kind of. This next step is quite possibly the most important step in the entire makeup look, and that is to set the face. Make sure you have a good setting spray. This is the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray. Oh my gosh, hands down the best setting spray ever. This will make your makeup last all night long. If you're sweating, if you're running, if you're jumping, if you're dancing, if you're swimming, maybe not if you're swimming, but you guys get the point. This is like the best setting spray ever, so I'm just going to set my face with that. Make sure you wait until it dries completely. Do not touch your face until it does. I always have to like fan my clients down just to make sure that they're not like ruining their face or not like, ooh. Now that my makeup is all set into place, this is the finished look. This is my Soft Glam bridal makeup tutorial. I hope you guys did enjoy watching this video. I hope you learned a little something new if you guys are doing the makeup yourselves, or if you are someone watching doing someone else's bridal makeup. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel today, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video. Bye.